What's going on, everybody? Josh McCarty and Stokes here from Built in Buffalo. And Stokes, is OBJ Watch back on?
I mean, if you're reading the tea leaves, it just might be.
The Bills made a move on Wednesday. They filled the open wide receiver coach position with Adam Henry, who is currently the wide receiver and co-offensive coordinator coach at Indiana University. But the reason why I led with the OBJ question was Adam Henry has multiple wide receiver coaching stints in the NFL that include New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, Dallas Cowboys, and San Francisco 49ers. But when you look at his resume, Stokes, he was at the Giants when Odell was there. He was at Cleveland when Odell was there. And he was at LSU when Odell was there. And Ian Rappaport made mention of the fact that he has a very good relationship with Odell Beckham, which of course got our brains thinking, I wonder what this means.
Of course, with as much of a connection that there had been with OBJ throughout the season and all that stuff, you'd think that hiring one of his people that he's comfortable with is a sign that they want to try and get him. And it's easy for us to read into that as that he could just be a good wide receiver coach for the Bills, but I think that we're reaching for anything we can to figure out the holes that this team has.
What do you think about the fit for OBJ? Because last season, for me, it was a lot about, okay, OBJ can come in, get healthy for the playoffs, and give this team a boost to get over the hump to win the Super Bowl last year. That clearly never happened. Now we're talking about a situation where OBJ is a free agent. You're probably going to have to sign him to a multi-year deal. But when you look at the production or maybe lack of production that the Bills got from wide receivers after Stephon Diggs on their roster, does the OBJ idea still appeal to you?
I think so when you consider like his high end is still like wide receiver one type skill level. So I think that we it all depends on the price. Like just like everything just depends on how much you have to pay for it. And if we have to pay him like wide receiver two level money for the potential of wide receiver one production, I think that it's worth the squeeze because like at his highs, I mean, and we saw it in the playoffs last year and in the Super Bowl, like he was the best wide receiver on the field. I mean, and then Cooper Cup, of course, is amazing, but like OBJ, he's still a really good wide receiver, and he had over a year off to continue to rehab his knee. So I think it would be worth it to go out and try and get him rather than trying to get either a trade for a wide receiver like other teams had done, or trying to get one on the free agent.
So what's interesting though is OBJ is not the only wide receiver you could connect dots to with Adam Henry. He was at LSU and Cleveland also with Jarvis Landry, who is also set to become a free agent. And we know Jarvis Landry has a very close relationship with OBJ, and then it gets your mind racing about a potential package deal. We both understand Jarvis Landry's history with the Buffalo Bills, specifically Aaron Williams and the hit that really led to the injury that led to Aaron Williams' career ending early. We understand all of that and respect the fact that Jarvis Landry can be a buzzword in your mind, and you may just instantly shut the door on that. But Stokes, Jarvis Landry at his best, which he probably isn't at 30 going on 31, was the exact kind of player that the Bills desperately missed this year, a reliable over the middle player and out of the slot. And I think his skill set, if he's still at least 80% of the old Jarvis Landry, could be a welcomed addition.
Absolutely. I think that he's the type of player we were hoping Jamison Crowder was or is. Like, and we didn't really get the opportunity to see much of Jamison Crowder because he got injured early, and so that pretty much put the end to that. So I think that the team works its best when you have that reliable guy that Josh can. Oh, I know I can get 7-8 yards with this guy no matter what, and maybe that was just how the offense went this year, or maybe it was just the personnel. Maybe he didn't have enough faith in Lil Dirty or Shakir or any of the guys that were supposed to be those type of people. So if you have a guy that's reliable hands, he's not afraid to go over the middle, take a hit from anyone. So I think that's the type of a guy that you could depend upon. But of course, it all boils down to what's that going to cost as well. I wouldn't want to pay Jarvis Landry wide receiver two money.
Mhm.
I'd want to pay OBJ that because of his potential. Because Jarvis Landry, I don't see like even at his high end, he's going to be like a Cole Beasley type.
Yeah, I don't think Jarvis Landry would command a very big dollar value at all. Last year, he signed a 1 year, $3 million deal with the Saints, and he ended up having a very injury riddled year, had an ankle injury that cost him 9 games. Stat line wise, he didn't really have a big year, less than 300 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. He did line up in the slot a lot, which is to be expected. 67% of his snaps were in the slot per PFF. I'd be very interested in Jarvis Landry on a deal similar to that, where it's kind of a prove it deal, a chance maybe for him to come off of an injury, put himself in a high powered offense where there are roles to be won for a player like him. And I could see him almost being like an Emmanuel Sanders fit for this offense, where maybe he's not the best version of himself that he was earlier in his career, but the experience, the attitude, the confidence he could bring to this offense could more than make up for any set of his skills that maybe has declined.
He's the type of guy that who could be what Jamison Crowder was and what Cole Beasley was. I think that is where this offense is at its peak. When you can't just key on Diggs, when you can't just leave Gabe Davis alone to see whatever the heck he's going to do when the ball's in the air. Like I think that when you have that guy that your quarterback can trust, that's where the offense looks its best. And I think that Jarvis Landry, I mean, I think this last year he wanted to go home. He wanted to go home and play for the Saints, and he got the chance to do that, and didn't work out as well as any of them wanted to. And maybe now is the opportunity for him to now recalibrate his mindset and go out and do something great.
When he was initially released from the Browns last year, there were reports that the Bills were in on him then, and it obviously didn't work out. And based on the contract he got in New Orleans, it doesn't look like the Bills were necessarily overly aggressive to get him. Maybe it came down to a Jamison Crowder versus Jarvis Landry situation. But I think Stokes, even if the Bills go with Landry or Odell Beckham or both, there is plenty of room on this roster to even add both. I think the Bills still have to be looking to attack the draft to add some youth to this wide receiver pipeline. And we have all offseason to talk about it. But I do want to sneak into this video just looking ahead to next year. They only have 2 wide receivers currently under contract going into next year, not this upcoming year, 2023, but after 2023, going into 2024. The Bills only have Stephon Diggs, who will be going on his 31 age season, and Khalil Shakir under contract. Gabe Davis is going into his contract year. So as nice as it would be to add Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, I would be for both of those moves. I still think the Bills have to add youth to this position group.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that just like quarterback, like it's always worth it to just use a flyer on one of those positions, just because you never know how they're going to look out of camp and whether you find the diamond in the rough. And I think that going after a wide receiver, and maybe they'll do what they've done in the past. They just go for a physical freak and hope that he's just going to develop into something, and hope that happens.
Well, the Bills got themselves a new wide receiver coach. We got ourselves some more fuel for the OBJ speculation and sprinkle in some Jarvis Landry speculation to go with it. Let us know in the comments what you think about the hiring of Adam Henry and what you think about the potential of adding either Odell Beckham or Jarvis Landry or both to this Bills offense in 2023. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on Built in Buffalo Quick Hits.